So yeah, for one reason or another, we've basically had a 6 month break from this project. So kind of coming back to it now and taking a fresh perspective on things and seeing where we are with the idea. I'm going to progress it from here really, and I think this is quite reflective of our process in general. We quite often write a bunch of ideas, come back to old ideas, and resample the hell out of it, and basically take it in a new direction. So we do that quite a lot, and that's basically what we're going to do with this idea now. Take it in maybe in a slightly new direction, give it a bit of a fresh context, and develop it further. So we've basically got bare bones of an idea here, to be honest. It's obviously not that developed. So what we'll do is resample some of the chord progression, keep the drums as the same as they are really, unless we feel there's elements that could be modified later on down the line. But yeah, for now we'll just kind of go through, resample some of our chord progression, try and build a new idea from there, and then take it on and get a bass line in and XYZ, finish the tune. So let's just run back what we have so far, and yeah, let's have a look. So yeah, that's what we are kind of where we're at the moment. It's not bad. It's not great. It's quite a kind of long, maybe kind of slightly slow chord progression. So let's try and give it some, yeah, bit of a revamp. So what we'll do just first of all is just resample this chord group into a new channel. So we'll just take the input from our chord progression group on the track, and we'll just record that in. So now we've just got a new track here with the audio of our chord progression really, and we can basically get in there now and chop the hell out of it. So let's have a look what we get. So that's our first chord. It's not a bad first chord, to be fair, but then we've got quite a lot of dead space in between the next activity, and it's the same tone really. So maybe you can pick some of this tone here and use that instead, because that's quite nice. So we'll just lock this out for now. Maybe we'll try and get a bit more moving, bit more activity there, maybe a bit more punchy as well, because it's kind of quite lazy, if that makes sense at the moment. Bring it earlier on. It's coming a little bit too early, that one. So I quite like that there. Bit more energy there. We'll mess up the sound a bit as well, because it's getting a bit boring. But I think that's a nicer intro. Let's try this down here. So all we do with resample, as you've kind of seen, is just cut stuff up and rearrange it. There's no right or wrong way to do it, if you like. We just kind of experiment, and that's, to be honest, a lot of the times how we get our ideas. Let's try this one instead. Goes a bit too deep, that version. Let's go down sevenths. So I think we need something with a bit of a higher pitch to kind of pitch it down, start and sound a bit messy. So maybe we'll go for this one. So that's not too bad, I don't think. So what I'll do now is basically just kind of give this sound a bit more interest. I think what a good place to start would be getting some filter action going. Maybe we'll put a bit of an amp on it as well, just to give it a bit of grit. This Ableton amp's actually pretty sick, but you need to dial back some of the highs and the dry wet sometimes. So straight away you got that kind of nice hissy presence to it in a way, which sometimes you might not want that sound, but I think it sounds quite good in this context here. So what I'll try and do now with the filter is add a bit of movement to it. So again, this is something we do frequently with our productions. I'll just go and draw some nice filter automation to kind of give it that bit of a pluckier sound, I guess is the best way to describe it. It's not going to be very plucky, but you know, it's going to give it a bit more movement and a bit more kind of option to add interest as the track develops. So maybe we're going a bit too low there. And obviously Ableton has a great feature where you can introduce curves into your automation instead of drawing it in, which is a really nice trick actually. So we yeah, thank you Ableton for designing that. So yeah, maybe at the end we'll just give it a bit of a reverse like so. So that sounds quite nice. I think what we need now maybe is a bit of delay so that the sound does kind of cut off quite suddenly, and we'll just load in a pretty basic delay here. We'll just have it hitting around the mid somewhere, dial the feedback back a little bit, and then just listen to what this sounds like. Right, let's go with a bit of EQ now. We'll just lop off some low end of this sound. Some quite nice frequencies in there, might want to. So just a little boost around the low mids there to give it a bit more punch through the mix, I guess. It's also sounding pretty wide, so with Ableton's utility, great feature, you can just dial back the width. Sometimes it sounds awful, but you can just kind of control the sound a bit more using this, which is good. I think that's sounding pretty nice for now. So yeah, I think what we'll add next is another synth element to kind of support this. Let's try and go for something a bit more plucky. Let's load up Diva. It's got quite a lot of nice sounds here. And what we'll do, familiar trick, we'll take some of the MIDI from our audio there, save us figuring out what the hell the chords are, and we'll just shorten this down a bit as well. Give that a quantize. So that's just the default Diva sound that you load in. We'll find a better sound in a minute, but just get the harmonies and melodies right first. Just the boring aspect of cutting all the rubbish out of these files sometimes, but it's got to be done. Oh, there we go. That took a while. We'll just consolidate that into one file. Sweet. So yeah, I think a good way to add more interest and more kind of movement to this will to not have both synths playing at the same time. This is something we do quite a lot with our kind of melodic ideas. So instead of having them hit at the same time, we'll spread them out over a kind of groove, if you like. So if we just nudge this as a test, just a beat or a whole beat later. It might be too far, go half a beat. Need to pitch that one up an octave. So obviously with the initial preset we've just used there, doesn't sound great, so we'll go in and let's sculpt this sound a bit more and find something more appropriate. I think something quite nice and punchy, a bit plucky maybe, will be good to give it a lot more impact in the mix really. And all we do is sift through some presets and see what we can find. Could be here a while, people. It's quite nice, sounds a bit trancey. Let's see what it sounds like a octave down. I think we could work with that. Just go in and shape this sound a bit more to our liking. We'll just loop up this first section here. So that sounds quite nice, but I think it needs a bit more punch to it, a bit more dirt. So we'll try and maybe saturate it a bit. And what I think we'll do is just roll off the highs as well, because it's a bit too clean for the current kind of vibe we've got going here. Sometimes you want a nice clean sound. If the rest of the track is a bit kind of dark and dirty, sometimes those sort of higher digital frequencies can poke out a bit more, and it just stands out too much in the mix really. And what I think we'll do as well is just bring some of the width down on that too. Don't want it mono. Just tidy it up a little bit as well. Sweet, so that's the group we've currently got now. So quite nice. We've still got quite a bit of space within that kind of progression, I guess. So that's something we can work on developing with other sounds as the track progresses. But I think that's a much better starting point to kind of develop this track from than the previous progression. So with confidence, we'll delete that, and hopefully we don't need to get it back at any point. So yeah, we'll just name this new progression, keep everything tidy, and then what we'll do with the pads, we'll just loop up this first section here really, because we don't have the same progression as last time. So this will be more just a sustained background feature. You might want to tweak that a bit later on, but yeah, for now we'll just duplicate that up. And let's have a listen to what this sounds like. So what I think we'll do as well is just send this group here to a reverb, just to give it a bit more space and make it sound a bit more kind of together in a way. We don't want anything too fancy. We'll just lock off the low end of that reverb, dial back the dry wet a bit maybe. Let's go for, I don't know, a bit of ambience, make it a bit more modern. Let's see what this sounds like if we send it some reverb. What sometimes is quite nice to do with reverb on sends, it's a bit of an odd trick, but if you load up a compressor in there and sidechain it to the kick just on the reverb send, it can sound quite nice. And what you can also do is sidechain it to the actual input from the progression, from the chord progression group, so you still get that kind of impact and transient, if you like, of the synth coming through, and you don't have that reverb washing it out straight away. So it might sound crap, but let's give it a run. So I think maybe just a little bit of tape distortion on there helps it as well, and I think that's sounding pretty nice actually, so let's have a listen. Just going to try what this sounds like an octave down. Yeah, it doesn't sound as good, so yeah, I mean, a lot of the times when we're making tunes like this, it's all about just moving things around octaves, trying new arrangements of chords and stuff like that. And ultimately, that's the best way for us to get the results, because we're not super musically talented on the keys and stuff. So you know, it's a lot of trial and error, to be fair, which is good. That's good. That's what introduces randomness, which is where you get a lot of kind of exciting elements of music and creativity from, really. So yeah, sweet.